All right. Good afternoon, boys and girls. Today I want to start class off with asking you guys a couple questions. First, how many of you have been to a grocery store before? I can probably say all of us, right? Yes, everybody has been either with dad or mom, grandma, auntie, cousin. So, how many of you would say that it's easy for you to go to a new grocery store and still be able to find the things that you want to buy? Right. I'm pretty sure that most of us, if we went to an unfamiliar grocery store, we would be able to find what we needed. Why is that? Why is it easy for us to go to new grocery stores and still find things? Sally, very good. That's because grocery stores are organized, like Sally said, organized in a way where everything is grouped together based on how it's similar. So every grocery store you go to, all the vegetables are together, all the fruits together. You have your meat section where you can find all your meats, frozen food aisle where you find all of the frozen foods that you need. The cereals are together, all the dairy products are together. So people who own grocery stores have organized them in a way to make it easy for us shoppers to find what we need. Scientists have actually created systems of classification that makes it easier for other scientists and also just regular people to study animals and also to name animals. In our last class, we talked about the classification of vertebrates and invertebrates. Okay, and we also talked about their subgroups. So remember, the vertebrates are the animals that what have a backbone, and the invertebrates don't. Who can remember some of the subgroups of those two orders? Okay, very good. Reptiles. Yes, Michael. Birds. Very good. Mammals. Right. So we learned about those classifications last week. Today, we're going to look at another system of classification that was created by scientists. And this one is called the seven levels of classification. And this was created to help us name animals. Okay, it helps us to give animals a scientific name. So you have to remember that all animals, actually all living things on earth, has a scientific name. So it's not just, cat or bird. There's another name that has been given to the animal based on the system that we're about to look at. The system of classification used to name animals starts from a very broad or general group, and it goes all the way down to something very specific. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Let's take music, for example. Okay, so music is a very broad term that we're looking at. So if we all like music, right? Right. So if we wanted to organize our music on our digital device, whether it's an MP3 player, whatever it is you're listening to your music on these days, how would we do it? We would first have this main category of music, and below music would be genre. Okay, but there's still many genres of music, so this wouldn't really help us get to the songs that we actually want to hear. So, because we got what, rock, jazz, hip hop, R&B, country, gospel, opera, folk. There's a lot of different types of music, a lot of different genres. So after genre, to get more specific, we would have album. I'm sorry, not album. We would have the artist. So the artist is first, and then from artist, we would find that artist album. Okay? And so once we had our artist album, it would be so much easier for us to find the song. So going from a broad to a more general, more specific way of putting music into categories, we would go, music, we would go to genre, artist, album, song. Okay? So the seven levels of classification are kind of set up just like this. So let's just go ahead and take a look at them. So the broad to specific classification of animals start with kingdom, and it's the widest, that's the broadest, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So this is basically, it's like a upside down or inverted triangle. And the top part just represents that that's where the majority of the animals are. And this one is where it gets really specific. Okay, so let's look at an example of how an animal will fit into this classification system. Why don't we go ahead and start with humans? We're all human, right? I don't see any aliens around here. So let's go ahead and start. Look at us. So here is the order of classification for humans. Okay, can everyone see this? All right. So at the top of the classification system is the kingdom. And humans, we are from the kingdom of Animalia, which means we are animals. And our phylum is Chordata. Chordata means that we have a backbone or vertebrae. Our class is Mammalia, which means we are mammals. And what makes us mammals again? That's right, Stacy. We have fur or hair, and also we can produce milk to feed our young. Our order, we come from the order of primates. Can you think of any other animals that may come from that order? Stephen, very good. Yes, monkeys, orangutans, good, Becky. Okay, so those are from the same order that we are. That's probably why some people say that they're our cousins. And the family is Hominidae, and the genus is Homo, and the species is Sapien. So when you're naming an animal with its scientific name, you always look at the bottom two levels of the classification chart, and that is the genus and the species. So if we wanted to know what our scientific name is as humans, we would look at the genus, which is Homo, and the species, which is Sapiens. So we are Homo sapiens. Okay, that's the scientific name for our humans. All right, any questions about that? Great. I want to go ahead, let's look at another example. I have these papers. Please take one and pass them around. So in a second, you're all going to have this handout, and this handout has a grizzly bear on it. This is the classification of the grizzly bear. And as you can see, it's pretty similar to our upside down triangles that we have up here. So it starts from very broad, and it's going to take us all the way down to this animal's scientific species and scientific name. So we have the grizzly bear. The kingdom is Animalia, which means it's an animal. And then the phylum is Chordata, which means it has a vertebrae or a backbone. The class is Mammalia, which means it's a mammal. And remember, mammals have hair and they feed their young with the milk from their body. And the order of the grizzly bear is Carnivora. Can anyone guess what that might mean? Very good, Sam. Carnivore. So we know that the grizzly bear is a meat eater. He's a carnivore. The family is Ursidae. The genus is Ursus. And the species is Arctos. So the grizzly bear's scientific name, if we remember to look at the genus and the species, would be Ursus arctos. So just remember, the next time you come across a grizzly bear, instead of saying, "Hi, Mr. Grizzly Bear," you can say, "Hi, Ursus arctos." He might understand you a little bit better. Okay. And we must be able to memorize these 7 levels of classification in order to classify the animals. Okay, and it's 7 of them. So I have a little mnemonic tool that I want to use to help you guys memorize these 7 kingdoms. I know we used them before. You guys usually like them. So here's one I'm using today. And this is actually one that I used when I was your age, learning about the classification of animals. And it is King Philip came over for good spaghetti. So King, kingdom, Philip, phylum, came, class, over, order, for, family, good, genus, spaghetti, species. So King Philip came over for good spaghetti. That should be able to help you remember kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, so I know that you guys are way more creative than I am. So what I want to do, I want to put you guys into groups and I want you guys to come up with some other creative phrases that can help us remember these 7 levels of classification. So why don't you guys go ahead and get in your B groups. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes and then we'll come back together as a group and you can present to us what you have come up with. All right.